game of the match.
Paul, 5 out of 5. Make it 6 out of 6.
It's the six-pack from Paul Moore. That's half the game gone, and he's perfect through those 6 frames. Seems to be no variation on his shot, and Vim's ball doesn't seem to be corrupting Paul's area very much at all. He's absolutely ripping his lane apart, isn't he?
This is the point for Vim, isn't it? If both of them were struggling to take all 10, then they could start looking at the lane and start saying, well, that's the problem. Vim doesn't have that excuse because his opponent can't miss, and Vim only has 2 strikes. He needs to double up here, and he was never going to get it with that shot, and he's left himself another horrendous mess, and already Wim van der Veen's cause is close to hopeless.
I think there's a change of ball here as well, and it's just got too much reaction in the back end, and it's left himself the 4, 6 and the 10. And yeah, that was a ball change, and it hasn't worked out for him.
It's a double whammy for the Dutchman, isn't it? Not only is his bowling inconsistent, but his opponent is absolutely on fire. And the gap between them already through 7 frames of this first game is a cavern.
Well, this first game's going to be a walkover. Not only has Vim got 2 open frames, he's got no doubles at all to counteract those. And well, we know what Paul's got. We're not going to talk about it just at the moment, but huge daylight between the 2.
So, are we going to see a little bit of sympathy from one left-hander to another?
I wouldn't have thought so.
No, we're not.
And the crowd are on their feet, and that young man thinks it's a strike.
He's probably thinking, well, you know what? You watch Paul Moore, this bowling game looks pretty easy. You try doing this, though. This is very special.
Well, he's making it look easy. He's making it look great for the fans here in the Metrodome today. Almost a smile on his face as well. Paul is almost enjoying himself.
Steady on, Paul. Got to control those emotions, son.
Vim looking to find something.
Oh, I thought he'd left himself another split. Thank goodness that went down for him, that 10. Otherwise, that would have been the white flag for Vim, I think.
Yeah, that would have been the 8-10 split. And that was a guaranteed open frame. Makes the pocket just a fraction higher. Loses the 10 pin. Again, just a single pin to shoot at.
And that means that he's already 100 pins adrift.
There's no way back from that, Nick. Not over 2 games. Earlier on this year, Paul played a big high roller tournament down in Greece. And although he had a disappointing finish, finishing only in 13th place, did manage a high 298 game, which was 11 strikes in a row and an 8 on the last ball. So we're closing in so far on that one. We're getting close to it. Frame number 8.
Well, if he can make it 8 in a row, the magic number is 12. And he's gone across the head pin, and that's the end of another 300 campaign. And Paul's lucky he didn't get a split with that one.
Bit of early reaction on this ball. Maybe his speed was just a little bit less than before, and it's overreacted in the back end. With himself 3 pins in the corner. Out comes the spare ball, the harder ball. Shinier surface. Should just straighten this shot out across the lane. Take all 3 pins away. Just like that.
Yeah, stays clean. I wouldn't say... wouldn't go so far as to say that Vim's right back in it now, but at least the deficit's gone back under 100.
Words of encouragement there from Nick Hawley. That's
it's tough. I mean, if you're Vim, what are you doing? You know, you just got to look at it and say, well, you know, play my game and hope for a miracle, because that's where we're at already.
There is a television monitor on the screen where the players can actually see their scores, and Vim knows what you're talking about, Nick.
I think Vim's probably thrown a towel over his monitor. Well, he's got a strike, his 3rd of the match, and if he can go into frame 10 and put another couple of strikes on board, at least he's got some momentum to go into the second leg.
Yeah, he can strike out for 194, but he's short of strikes, so He needs to finish with 3 in a row in the 10th frame to make that shot. Paul, on the other hand, pacing 277. If he can make it, huge game. Frame 9, working on a spare.
That's interesting. He's
identical shot.
Yeah, it's a carbon copy.
Now, is the lane breaking down on Paul's area? Has he destroyed his own line to the pocket?
Well, you could put his first shot from frame 8 and his first shot from frame 9 on a split screen and they would look absolutely identical. So whatever Paul's doing, he's either repeated the mistake or that lane is changing. And he's had to dig himself out of it again. I mean, he's fine. There's no pressure on Paul Moore, but you could see the little scowl there. It's one thing to get a 7 spare, but then to go and repeat it, well, makes you wonder if he's going to have to make a little adjustment. That's what's going through his mind right now.
Nick, you're quite right. Yes, he's thinking, I've got 7 strikes in a row. Where those 2 spares come from? What did I do wrong? Well, I think the pace was just a little bit down.
World 10-pin Masters. Paul Moore in control of this opening game against Wim van der Veen. This is the 10th frame. The Dutchman looking to limit the damage. Commentary from Cass Edwards and Nick Pauling.
That's a real shame. If Wim could have taken all 10 there in frame 10, he could have built up a strong finish, and he doesn't even have that luxury.
No, he's been a bit unfortunate, Wim. He's had 2 big splits and 5-9 spares,
yeah.
Which could have carried because they were quite close to pocket shots. He's just not carrying the 10, not getting the carry at all. It's another spare, has himself a bonus. And strikes only give him 170. It's going to be 70 pins adrift here at absolute minimum. This is the last ball for Wim, and in game 1 finishes himself with a game of 174. Moves him a long way adrift, I'm afraid.
So Wim checks out of game 1 with a 174. He needs to be close to perfect if he's to have any chance of pulling this one back in the second leg, and even then he will need Paul to help him out. But interesting to see what's going to happen with Paul now as we look at frame 10 for him, because frames 1 to 7 were perfect, then 8 and 9 were identical shots out of the pocket, taking 7. Let's see what this does, and I think he's taken a different line, and yeah, he has. That's the result. Left it a little bit, pushed it a little bit wider, and got all 10 as a result.
Yes, well spotted, Nick. You could visibly see that ball was a lot wider on the lane. Moved his feet to the right just a little bit, pushed the ball out further, and got some fantastic reaction just a couple of boards further out on the lane. Came roaring back as the ball hit the break point. Carried all 10 pins. Let's see if he stays on that line for these 2 bonus balls here in the 10th frame. Pacing 2-6.